Good morning, guys. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day. I always appreciate it, guys. There's almost 6,000 of you, and I am so grateful for all of you. I just want to say that for the people that have just started the channel, for the people that have been here for a while. Thank you so much. My goal is to keep you interested and to keep you brought up to date on things and to get your opinions and to keep your mind going and to challenge some things. And so that's what we're going to do right away, because we're going to talk about the unfortunate passing of another kid, a 6-year-old boy named Corey Michelli. It seems like Corey Michelli or Corey McKelly. I've heard his name pronounced two different ways now, but he was a 6-year-old boy, and he had just recently became acquainted with his dad about 2 years before he passed on. His mom had given birth when she was only 17 years old in 11th grade. And I guess it took a long time for the DNA test, or I'm not sure of the beginning of things, except for the fact that Brianna, Corey's mom, did lose custody of Corey because she had a drug problem, which she overcame and continues to overcome, it seems, so that she could gain custody of her son back. In the meantime, there was split custody, more or less, but the kid did remain for the most part with his dad after only 2 years of finding out who his dad was. He was 6 years old when his dad put him on a treadmill and made him try to catch up to the speed of this treadmill that would have been difficult for an adult, so a child with small legs. And the reason for this, from my understanding, was because the dad felt that his son was overweight. I've looked at this child. I don't see anywhere where this kid has an ounce of fat on his body. Even if he did, this is not the way. Put them on a special diet, walk with them. I'm going to show a video some of you have seen. Some of you know nothing about this case, because when I brought it up, you were like, oh, I've not heard of that. Yes, let's follow it. Right now, there's the trial going on for the dad for MURDER of his son. Now, they offered him a plea deal of 30 years. And the dad, his name is Christopher Gregor. The dad said, no, I'm not guilty of this. All I did was try to help my son work out, and that treadmill incident happened 2 weeks before the child passed. The child passed in the hospital, supposedly from sepsis. However, there's a medical examiner saying that there wasn't any of that in his body, and what he died from was blunt impact injury to the chest and the abdomen, laceration of the heart, contusion of the left lung, and it was a homicide. But the boy was supposedly in the mother's care. But there was no sign of any kind of physical abuse there. The only physical abuse that we found, that we caught on video, was the treadmill, where he picks his son up 6 times and puts him back on a treadmill without stopping the treadmill. And the kid keeps falling off the treadmill. And then at one point in the video, you see where the dad bites the kid on the head. This is a 6-year-old child who had life and things to look forward to, and dreams and hopes and make-believe and fantasy. And it's all snuffed out. What happened to this child? What's going on, period, here? But what happened to this 6-year-old boy? I have a friend who is very athletic, and his child is very athletic, and he supports his child in the baseball and the football, and the kid's got a great arm and such. And there are people even on Facebook pages that say, hey, don't do that because he could throw his arm out of the socket. Hey, when they reach a certain age, you shouldn't do that until they reach a certain age, because while they're still growing, this is dangerous on a child's body. Yet we have a grown man who is more or less torture his child on this treadmill, where the kid just cannot keep up with the treadmill, and the dad won't have any of it. And when we see this, and his lawyer gets on in front of the jury, and when his lawyer gets in front of the jury and says, listen, you probably will not like my client, you'll probably despise my client, but that doesn't mean that he unalived his son. His son was with the mother, and the mother had taken her son, who she felt was lethargic, had taken him a couple times to the hospital. We're going to see how this all plays out over the course of time in this trial, because there is a bunch of gigantic cheese holes in what's going on here. So it'll be really interesting to see what actually happened to this child, Corey Michelli, 6-year-old boy who just loved sports. And, you know, one of the things, you know, while this trial is going on, we're hearing a lot about character. And it seems like during the passing of his son, while his son was basically taking his last breath, his son was alone without any family. The father, 32-year-old Christopher Gregor, told the nurse and the people in the hospital that when they were asking, is there anybody that you want us to call in regards to Corey, he would not let them call Corey's mom, Brianna. So unfortunately, Corey took his last breath on this earth without the comfort of family in the room. He only had medical staff in the room, were trying desperately to save his life. So his dad now gets to live with the fact that his 6-year-old son was looking in the eyes of strangers when he was scared and took his last breath. That's something that you just, you can't fix that after. You can't go back and do that again. You only get one shot at that. And I'd have to say that Christopher Gregor failed his son. We're going to see how much more he failed his son, or if it was the mother, or if it was both of them, or if this was just a horrific accident as this trial continues on, and as I dig deep into the case to find out how a mother who had raised her son for so long, and the DNA, which took forever, I guess, for it to come about, and for Corey to finally learn who his dad was only 2 years later, to be unalived, maybe by his dad and his dad's rigorous exercise that he had his son do. Maybe it was just way too much for a 6-year-old child. Maybe that was ABUSE. There are men that have watched this video and said, no, that wasn't it. Like, he encouraged his son. The weirdest thing was about him biting his kid on the head. Not him not stopping the treadmill, not slowing down the treadmill. That's something that we really need to think about. This was a 6-year-old child. When you guys see the video, like, doesn't that scream bad? Doesn't that scream foul? Doesn't that scream ABUSE? Can't we all see that there's something wrong with that? Guys, we're going to dig into it more. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Once again, I thank you again for allowing me part of your day. I hope I made it worth your while, gave you a little food for thought. Until next time, guys, don't forget, be better than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Always be yourself, never be mean. Thanks, guys.